Hey everyone, it's Chuck the Trail Dancer, and today I'm coming to you from my usual stomping ground here on the PCT in Central Oregon. Django and I just got through with a small day hike. The sun's getting ready to go down. It's a beautiful day outside, so I thought I'd take this time to do a brief review of one of my favorite tents in my backpacking arsenal. This is the Sierra Designs Clearwing 2. Stay tuned.
Starving in the streets, tell me what I'm missing. Everybody's getting back exactly what they're given. Desperate is as desperate does.
Hi everyone, I'm back, and today, like I said, I'm coming to you again from Central Oregon here on the PCT. I am northwest of a small town called Sisters, Oregon. Really cool little town. They have a really cool coffee shop called Sisters Coffee. I'll put some information in the description below. So I'm up here on the McKenzie Pass. It's a really cool area, especially if you like geology and volcanology. You can see the three sisters behind me right now. And to my right, your left, there's an observatory up here, a fire watch station that you can climb up, and you can overlook Three Finger Jack and Mount Jefferson, Mount Washington, and even you can see Mount Hood from here. But there's also a walking path that takes you through the lava flows up here, and with signage and gives you key features of the lava flow. It's really cool. So if you're into geology and into volcanology, this is a really epic place to come. There are many outdoor manufacturers out there that make quality tents for us backpackers. And we all have our companies that we tend to gravitate towards, whether that be based on the way we feel about the company and the principles they stand behind, or we just love the equipment that they produce. Some of these companies include Sierra Designs, Big Agnes, Nemo, Tarp Tent, The North Face, Marmot, Hyperlight Mountain Gear, Z-Packs, and my personal favorites, Fjällräven and Hilleberg from Sweden. As I mentioned in my last video about Gregory having a soft spot in my heart because it was the first backpack I ever purchased when I got into backpacking in the early to mid 80s. The same runs true for Sierra Designs because it was the first tent I ever purchased. And that tent was a beast. I don't remember the model number. I think it was a precursor to the Meteor, but it might have even been a Meteor. But that tent went everywhere with me, from the JMT to the PCT to the Tahoe Rim to Moab, Utah, to the Coast Range, North Cascades. I'd like to give a big shout out to Sierra Designs because you two have a soft spot in my heart because it was the first tent, like I said, that I ever purchased, and it helped me get into the wonders of backpacking. So again, Sierra Designs, thank you so much. As like most of my reviews, I don't like to spend too much of your time on the specs or data. I'll post a link in the description below so you guys can go research that on your own time. I might throw some fun facts out there for you, but in this video, I want to do a brief overview and what you get when you purchase the tent, some key features. We'll do a setup with the fly on and off, and then I'll finish off with pros and cons. So with that said, let's get started. Let's start by talking about one of my favorite features of Sierra Designs tents, or most of them anyways. That is their famous carrying case called their Burrito Bag. So for all my foreign friends who don't know what a burrito is, that's a burrito. They're very tasty, very yummy, and very delicious in your mouth. So this is exactly what it sounds like, a burrito. You take your equipment or ingredients, you have this really big opening on the front, and you stuff all your ingredients in. Then you take this flap they have here, and you put the flap over all your equipment or ingredients. Then you take these compression straps, latch them, cinch them down. Then you take this string compression strap, you pull this and secure it here, and this closes that opening, and it's really secure, and it really makes the tent really compact. I think it's way better than taking a small stuff sack and stuffing the tent in, especially when you're tired in the morning. This is so much easier to deal with. So anyways, Sierra Designs, whoever engineered this, give yourself a raise. What do you get when you purchase a tent? Well, first you get that wonderful, cool burrito bag that I mentioned earlier. You get a sleeve to hold your poles and your tent stakes, get your tent body, get your rain fly with 4 attached guy lines. You get 10 gold J hook stakes. You get 3 poles, 2 of them equal length and color coded, and then you have your crossbody or brow pole. That's pretty much it. With that said, let's set up this tent. Let's go. I have to admit, I didn't really plan this out too much. I just had a spur of the moment whim to do a review of the Sierra Designs Clearwing 2. Django and I just hiked a little bit on the PCT. It's a beautiful day. But what I didn't take in consideration was that the sun is setting, casting crazy shadows here. Plus the fact this is real world conditions. There's no level ground here. So I'm going to pitch this thing like we really would if we were hiking or through hiking. And I will give some tips or tricks, but I'm not going to go too much into that. I'll do a separate video on that later. As you can see, I always start with the poles, assembling them first. It makes it really easy. I always take the rubber bands that come with these tent poles and I place them in my pocket so I don't lose them. I try to keep all my gear organized as much as possible. In addition, I also try to find places in the natural environment that offers a cool barrier just in case there are bears or cougars, which there are lots of out here. So if you notice, I have a lot of dead branches on all sides. And so if a bear or a cougar comes in here, more so a bear, because they're a little bit more clumsy than a cougar. Cougar will just jump over. If they come in at nighttime, I'll be able to hear them. So let's go over the inner tent a little bit in more detail. You can see it's mostly mesh. You have 3 poles. 2 of the poles are equal length and they run lengthwise of the tent. They are color coordinated at the tips, which correspond to fasteners at the bottom. You have 2 doors, which is great for 2 people. It's a palace for 1 person, but for 2 people, it's great so you don't have to crawl over that person in the middle of the night when you have to go to the bathroom. Unless it's my wonderful Annika, I will definitely crawl over her in the middle of the night, or if it's your significant other. But if it's not, it might be a little awkward to do that. So 2 doors really helps. So another thing I really like about this tent is the bathtub floor. It's really substantial. It offers more material at the head and the foot of the tent, and it tapers down to about 6 or 7 inches in the middle. That extra fabric on the head and the foot of the tent helps prevent rain backsplash or other inclement weather items from hitting you or making things uncomfortable. So inside the tent, you have really good gear organization. You have 2 pockets at the head of the tent, and then you have 2 big mesh pockets on top of the tent with some gear loops to hang a dry line for your dirty clothes or wet clothes or a headlamp or what have you. So it has a lot of good organization, which for me, it's really important. I have to have tents with good organization. It drives me crazy if it doesn't. With that said, let me put on the fly and we'll go over that. So if you notice my wonderful dog Django, this is Django. He's in my logo. He's my best friend. He instantly gets in the tent when I pitch one up. So he'll just sit there while I put the fly on. Okay, so this is the Sierra Designs Clearwing 2 with the rainfly on. I will walk around with the camera so you guys can see what it looks like. You have blue on one side. You have white for the main part of the fly. You have 4 attached guy lines, like I said earlier. I won't put those out because it's not really windy. But you have the yellow on the other side. And this ground is really, really, really soft and sandy. I would probably use rocks here because these stakes will not stay. So there's Django. I will show you Django. Say hi, Jangs. That's my best friend. And he's using his rough wear mat that I put on the pack. So I'll back up a little bit so you can see. You have 2 vents. I have one of them open here. I'll go a little bit closer so you can see that one. So there's your vent with a little bit of Velcro there to keep it open. Really nice ventilation. A lot of tents have that feature. I'm glad this one does. So I'd like to mention something pretty obvious, the elephant in the room, and that's the colors. I know Luke at Outdoor Gear Review has done a review of this tent and he hated the colors but loved the tent. The colors are very odd. Yellow, white, and blue. So I guess if you go to UC Berkeley, this is a perfect tent for you. Maybe that's why they did it. They're based out of Emeryville. Maybe that's the whole thing. I never realized that until like right now as I said it. Emeryville is pretty much where UC Berkeley is. Maybe that's why they did it. So yeah, the colors don't bother me too much, but I know a lot of people it does. Unless you go to UC Berkeley, that's my new theory right now. I feel like you're going to a Cirque du Soleil concert. So if I go in this tent, I should find an elephant, a trapeze, and a ringmaster. That's what I should find. Let's see. Let's move over to the tent and see if we have any dancers. And no, but you do have Django, the best dog on the planet. Hi, Jangs. He's like, can you please get this damn review over so we can go eat? So that's a general overview of the Sierra Designs Clearwing 2 what it looks like set up with the fly and without the fly, and what you get when you purchase the tent. Now let's go on to some of my pros and cons. Let's start with my pros. My first pro has to be the weather resistance of this tent. I've had this tent out now for 12 times, and 9 of those times have been in inclement weather. I've been in snow, and I've also been in high winds, 40 mile an hour plus, or like 55 kph, somewhere around there. And with the tent guidelines staked out, this tent really didn't budge in the weather. I stayed dry, the tent didn't leak in an all-night rainfall. So this tent, weather-wise, is amazing. So my second pro of this tent has got to be the spaciousness of this tent. The tent is 33 square feet inside, 3.1 square meters, 12 foot of vestibule space on each side, which is about 1.2 square meters. The tent is 51.5 inches in width, or 131 centimeters, which is big enough to accommodate 2 full-size sleeping beds. Like I said, for one person, this tent is like Angkor Wat or the Taj Mahal. It's huge. You can fit me and Django in here with a lot more space for all of our gear. My next pro, I know, don't laugh, has got to be the colors. Because yes, while it's crazy looking, it also is really good and reflective at night. The logos are reflective. The yellow really shows up nice in low light conditions. When you're inside the tent, the white, blue, and yellow give really nice shadows, and the white really illuminates the tent inside, especially in low light conditions. So I do think that's a positive. The next pro I really like is I can take this fly off in good weather and have a really nice view of the stars with the mesh all the way around. I have a lot more pros. I think this tent is damn near perfect, but a big pro for me is Django. Django is a master tent reviewer. He goes into tents that he likes right away. So when I set this up, as you notice, he went right in and went to sleep. There are a few tents I have in my backpacking lineup that he won't go in very easily. And those tents happen to be the ones I don't really like that much. So Django is a perfect tent reviewer. Hi boy, what you doing? Good boy, who's a good boy? So now let's discuss the cons. I only have 2 of them really. The first con is the weight. This tent, fully packed, is a little over 3.5 pounds and can be pushed to 4 pounds. And that's a really heavy tent for a solo backpacker or a thru hiker. However, if you can't have 2 people, you can split that weight up and it's very doable, especially for the space that you get with this tent. I will take the sacrifice and carry this tent because I really like the extra space for Django and I. My second major con has got to be the color scheme. And until today, honestly, I didn't know why they did this color scheme. It makes sense now that they're in Emeryville, California, which is very close to Berkeley, California. So I'm sure they did this after Berkeley colors. I just realized that. I'm surprised I didn't ask them at the outdoor retailer show. So let's be real. If I'm walking through the forest and I see this tent, I'm going to instantly look for a ticket booth because I'm going to assume that there's an elephant, a trapeze, a ringmaster, a lion, a tiger, and Cirque du Soleil dancers in here. And if there's not, I'm going to be highly disappointed. So Sierra Designs, please offer us loyal customers a couple color combinations to choose from. So if we don't like UC Berkeley colors, we need to have another choice to choose from. Something like a green or a tan. Those are very popular and they're very nice in the environment. So that wraps up my brief review of the Sierra Designs Clearwing 2 tent. I think this is a fantastic tent. It's one of my favorite tents in my backpacking lineup and I use it all the time. I would like to say thank you so much for stopping by and watching my first tent review on my gear review channel. I know I probably made a lot of mistakes with camera angles and filming with shadows and space, what have you. So if you have any comments to make my gear reviews better, please put them in the comments below. I'd really like to read them and I'll take that information and use it next time when I film other videos. So to help me reach my goal of 1 billion subscribers, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and for notifications on upcoming content, hit that bell and you'll be notified when I have new videos coming out. So I'll post links to how to purchase this tent and more information about the tent in the description below. If you purchase through that link, it helps support my channel. You can also support my channel through Patreon or by liking through Twitter, Facebook, or IG. Before I say goodbye, oh my goodness, Netflix now has the Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra, 2 of my favorite of all time shows. And I want to say to my wonderful, loving girlfriend who is watching the Avatar now, she's almost done with book 3, and I'm so excited and so happy that she did that for me. So honey, I love you so much. So until next time, remember, the virus is the enemy, not each other. I hope to see all of you out on the trail or on the dance floor. So until next time, Chuck and Django out.
Lord knows we've had enough.
Good boy.
It's so hard.